Thank you for tuning in to WDRB Media, the voice of the community. You are listening to Beyond the Barriers with Coach Cindy
and Mayor Sherri. On the Beyond the Barriers radio show, we believe we have the power to change the trajectory of our economic, social, health, and education outcomes by removing barriers that lie within historically excluded communities through cooperative models.
And our show sponsors is Sand Hills Cooperation Association, located at 348 North Main Street, Troy, North Carolina, serving 5 counties: Montgomery, Randolph, Moore, Richmond, and Stanley County.
Today we will discuss March into Wellness, navigating healthcare in historically excluded communities, with a focus on mental health. Navigating healthcare in historically excluded communities, particularly concerning mental health, presents a complex and multifaceted challenge. These communities often face systemic barriers, such as limited access to quality care, stigma surrounding mental health issues, and socioeconomic disparities. Individuals may encounter difficulties in accessing mental health services due to financial constraints, cultural beliefs, and a lack of awareness about available resources. Moreover, historical injustices and discrimination can exacerbate distrust in healthcare systems. Join us today as we dive into conversations with experts highlighting the critical importance of addressing mental health disparities and providing tailored support to at-risk youth and their families. Ready to ignite change? Sand Hills Cooperation Association empowers historically excluded communities, helping them become self-sufficient. Join us every Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. for our Beyond the Barriers radio show on WDRB Media with Mayor Sherri
and Coach Cindy, addressing community challenges. Visit us at sandhillscooperation.org or visit us on Facebook, Sand Hills Cooperation Association, building brighter futures one community at a time.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.
Hello, Coach Cindy. How are you today?
Oh, I am doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well. Look, we're in March into Wellness.
Yes.
Navigating healthcare in our historically excluded communities. We've been talking about a whole lot of things all month as it relates to traditional medicine, as it relates to holistic as well. And we talked about substance abuse last week. And so today our focus is mental health. Talk to me about mental health, if you don't mind.
That is a very broad stroke.
Okay, right.
It's a very broad stroke, and it's one that we have not openly dealt with because there's a stigma behind mental health. When you start talking about, we'll go to the doctor for our physical health.
Right.
But when we talk about mental health, I think it challenges our status. It challenges our identity, how we want people to see us in the public eye, so we don't like to talk about mental health issues. But
where did that stem from? Because even I think of biblically, the Bible is clear about where our mind is supposed to be, right? Like, let this mind be in you, which is also in Christ Jesus. It also talks about think on those things which are above, right? So because as a man thinking in his heart,
dealing with mental health, right?
Exactly. So all of these are mental health biblically, but in our Black communities, with our historically excluded communities, I think we've covered it up with religion,
right? That
we say, okay, well, God is going to handle it, so it eases the pressure off of us,
right?
But we really are not dealing with those internal pains and pressures and issues. What's your thought processing on that?
Just understanding our history, and especially in America, we came here oppressively. We were told that we were mentally ill. We were treated mentally ill. We were only good for following orders. And religious was our only outlet. I think that's how it got into the religious realm, is because God is all we had. That couldn't be taken away from us. And they tried to do that too. They whitewashed our religion to make us feel like we are secondary people. Now that we are trying to be civilized, now that we're trying to find status, we don't want to talk about those things, but it's internalized oppressions. We don't want to deal with the fact that I do have mental health issues. I'm still figuring out who I am. Right. That's an issue. It doesn't make me mentally sick, but it's an issue in my mental capacity that I need to deal with. Because for centuries, I have been told subliminally and outright, that's not true. We have a problem dealing with that, because then we're every day trying to acclimate to a system that says you're okay because you dress right. But they haven't dealt with our mental issues.
What was traumatic for me was that to see where our history came from. Just putting myself in saying, wow, my ancestors actually were raped, they were murdered, they were beaten, they were forced into labor. They had to deal with all of these things, and I'm directly connected to them. It may not have happened to me, but that's my ancestors.
Right.
Right? Like, that's traumatic to know that my ancestors had to suffer through all of those things.
And you're not that far removed.
Exactly. What my great-great-grandfather, right. And although we personally have not had to deal with that level of trauma, we got today's trauma.
Yes.
Today's trauma is to know that, okay, I can have just as much education, just as much experience, just as much schooling, all of these things. I can check off all these boxes. I still have to deal with, you're not good enough because of the color of your skin, or that you put in this box because, yeah, you have all of those credentials, but those stigmas are still there, right?
Got something missing.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
Right,
and it's very traumatic. And I think we have been forced to be mentally altered for so long. And now through scripture, where we're able to read, like it's right there in the book. We're royalty. It's in the book who we are. So we struggle with that identity, like accepting that
that's
true
a mental
identity.
Health issue.
It's a mental health issue
that can lead to mental illnesses.
Right.
How do we deal with it? I'm gonna tell you what has been facading. They tell us that we're very resilient.
Right.
Have you looked at that word? Now, what does it mean to be resilient? How does that play out with us?
Well, the etymology of that word is to jump back or to recoil. So it's a rebounding or a springing back.
Yeah, the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties and toughness. So are we resilient?
Wow.
That's not a recovery if I'm suppressing it. That's survival. So there's a difference between survival and resilience. A lot of what I've been studying lately is word contrast. Like, in our society, sick means awesome.
Right.
Bad means good.
We
have confused our own vocabulary understanding. And so we don't know what we're saying. And we use these words and we don't have a clue what it really means to our soul, what it really means to our mind. You're telling me I'm resilient, which sounds kind of cute. Oh yeah, I'm strong, I'm resilient. You're telling me that I recovered, but did I? Well, you won't even talk about what I recovered from because it was only real in my mind. You ain't had to look at it.
Right.
So yeah, mental issues is something we all have. How do we stop it from being mental illness? I believe that today that we're going to talk to two wonderful people who are dealing with this in every area. They deal with young people, they deal with adults, and they deal with people in communities, and they deal with professionals. We're going to get to see how they deal with it and what have they discovered about mental illnesses versus mental issues. I think being a mental health professional, you better know. You had better know. In America, they have capitalized mental issues because it's an industry.
Right.
If I can keep you on my couch for 20 years, paying $200 a session, then I really don't want you well. I just want you well enough to come to the office.
Right.
And I want to do a little something to help you get through the day, not through your life, but through the week, through the month. Right. Not to recover.
What does that end result look like? What does it look like to be? It
looks like a world of wellness where nobody has to pay for mental health.
And that is what March into Wellness is all about.
Yes.
It is knowing that there are tools available, there are resources available out there and inwardly that we can lean on and depend on for us to be able to thrive, not only thrive, but to prosper and to be self-sustaining and navigating our way through.
And not just for us, but for our lineage.
Exactly.
For those that are coming behind us, that they don't have to deal with these same issues that we deal with and have the threat of illness because of it. I'm excited about our guest.
I am excited too. So we're going to jump right in. You're listening to Beyond the Barriers radio show, and I am your host, Mayor Sherri.
And I'm Coach Cindy.
And we'll be right back after this message.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.
Attention innovators, community builders, and champions of positive change. Beyond the Barriers radio show is inviting you to be part of our empowering journey. We're on the lookout for sponsors who believe in breaking barriers and amplifying voices in historically excluded communities. Want to showcase your brand or cause to our engaged audience? Visit Sandhills Corporation or to explore exciting sponsorship opportunities, from on-air endorsements to impactful commercials. Become a part of a platform that celebrates resilience, triumph, and community strength. Our show is not just about telling stories. It's about shaping narratives and making a lasting impact. By sponsoring Beyond the Barriers, you align your brand with a mission of inclusivity, empowerment, and positive change. Visit sandhillscooperation.org today to purchase advertisements, endorsements, or even secure a spot as a guest on our show. Let's break barriers together and create a vibrant, connected community. Beyond the Barriers radio show, where every sponsorship is an investment in positive transformation. Be a catalyst for change. Visit sandhillscooperation.org now. Beyond the Barriers radio show. Breaking barriers, building connections.
Welcome to Beyond the Barriers radio show. I am your host, Mayor Sherri.
And I'm Coach Cindy.
And today in our studio, we have Dr. Brian L. Johnson, as well as his lovely wife, Karissa Johnson of the Life Change Group NC Consulting. How are you all today?
We are well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this fabulous opportunity, and we greatly appreciate it. We are excited.
And we are too. Can you take the time just to introduce your work and the things that you all do out there in Albemarle?
We are an intentional faith-based agency that covers the whole person. Basically, what that means, from behavioral health to mental health to substance use disorder, be it drug or alcohol, we just create a safe environment for the need of the whole person, the whole family.
Gotcha. And that's a lot. It sounds like it's a small task, but it is a really huge task, and we do understand that. Can you tell us in what specific ways does the Life Change Group address the unique mental health challenges that are faced by individuals living below the poverty line and those in historically excluded communities?
One of the things that the Life Change Group has intentionally gone out of its way is to create a safe environment, because the historically excluded have not always had safe environments for their specific whole person needs. The Life Change Group NC Consulting goes out of its way to create safe environments where an individual or family can get their needs met in a safe environment where their needs are the key to our intentional agenda. Compassionate environments to those of us that are a part of that historically excluded community, seeking out services, making it simple to be able to seek out service, to seek out resources to where their needs can get met as an individual or as a whole family.
I know you guys deal with the whole family, which generally has children in the families. What are some of the ways that you tailor your programs to meet the needs of the at-risk youth and their family, considering the additional challenges that they may face due to poverty and systemic inequities?
So one of the ways that we tailor our programs for at-risk youth and their families and dealing with some of the challenges that they face is community engagement. By engaging with the community, because the community understands the challenges that they face as a youth and their families.
Correct.
This involves partnerships with local organizations, schools, the community leaders, and also churches within the communities. We found that churches are some of the leading resources within the community. Another one is cultural competency, being able to understand and deal with sensitive needs that the communities may face, to be able to really serve them, and having diverse backgrounds so that they can relate to the experiences of our youth and family. Another approach is the holistic approach, recognizing that challenges faced by at-risk youth and their family are often multifaceted. Programs should address not only the immediate needs like housing, food, security, it should also support education, mental health, employment, be able to support having a safe place for our at-risk to be able to go to. Another one is trauma-enforced care. Many at-risk youth have experienced trauma, such as violence, abuse, discrimination. So programs should be able to address some of those challenges by creating that safe, supportive environment. Flexibility in services, recognizing that with our youth, we have to have some flexibility in our schedule. Not only flexibility, but transportation can also be an issue with assisting at-risk youth. Virtual support is also another approach that we use that can also help. And advocacy, being able to really advocate for our at-risk youth.
We have noticed even just today that community engagement, really reaching out to resources within the community, intentionally crossing barriers of even business segregation. We're not even talking into race, but even to business segregation. Like, we continuously find out through this community engagement that it appears that everybody's doing the same thing. Well, if we could somehow or another, if we could beat that giant of knowing that we're better together, one of the greatest effects and greatest points to that question that my wife answered is that utilizing the resources that are already there.
Right.
Already there.
Earlier, myself and Coach Cindy, we were talking about the trauma part in our historically excluded communities. We may not have been there during slavery time. And although we may not have been the ones being raped, abused, being torn from families and all of that, that trauma is still in our communities, to where there's a level of fear, there's a level of failure to know who we are and our identity. And all of those play a role even in our youth whenever we're looking at with systemic inequities and seeing that, okay, mental health, that we got some problems in our communities. You know, I don't know how statistics are over as far as crime rates are over in Albemarle, but I know here in Montgomery County, we just had someone who was a young boy, 16 years old, was shot and killed, and they don't even know who killed him. And so it's like, it's a mental illness to take somebody's life. Like, that is a mental illness. That's not normal.
No.
And so we see that our at-risk youth, they're dealing with these challenges. And I'm sure the Life Change Group, the curriculums that you all offer, can you all tell us a little bit about those curriculums that promotes mental health?
One of the curriculums, and it's my claim to fame, that I say the 7 mindsets that focuses specifically, Mayor Sherri, on social and emotional learning. When we look at SEL, it is what I call my golden goose, because I believe that not only does it affect children, but it's social and emotional learning even should be a criteria or an element for adults, because it teaches us to deal with our emotions, deal with our traumas. 7 mindsets is one of those holistic. We have the Change Network that we utilize that stimulates journaling. I've always been taught if you can write it, you can see it. If you can see it, you can write it. That curriculum, I said the 7 mindsets, the Change Network, and then I myself have created what we call the academic program called Bridge Builders. Again, it is a behavioral health program that is geared specifically to the school-age child from elementary to middle school. We'll work with high school, but our major focus with that particular curriculum, Bridge Builders, is for elementary and middle school kids. And again, we will utilize it for high school kids, but we will tailor it specifically directed on, let's just say, say the guidance counselor comes to us and says, hey, we have a group of students in the high school that need this particular target area. And that's one of the major things about the Life Change Group NC. We don't just do cookie cutter stuff. We do specific, tailored to the whole person kind of interventions coming alongside the journey in life. We don't just do cookie cutter stuff, because just like we're different, all of our children are different. All of our families are different. All of the issues are different too. So we try to maintain. But to answer your question thoroughly, it's the 7 mindsets, the change network, and bridge builders. Those 3 address the tailored to those scenarios.
And also with dealing with our at-risk youth, also knowing what our clinicians use as far as their type of therapy. I believe that also connects with the curriculums that's being used. And some of the type of therapies that our clinicians are using is cognitive behavior therapy, which deal with the stresses of the role of how our youth think. What are their thought process, being able to identify and testing those realities and changing some of those dysfunctional beliefs. Also, person-centered therapy, which is used as a non-authoritative approach that allows our people that we support to take a more lead in their discussions and also in their decisions. Also, play therapy, especially for our at-risk children that we support from the ages of 3 to 11. Play therapy is also a form of counseling that can also be used in our curriculum to help our kids to be able to understand what they cannot speak, but what they do and emulate. And also trauma focus. That was what you were talking about when you said, Mayor Sherri, trauma being within our communities. Trauma focused cognitive behavior therapy helps the people that we support who may have experienced post-traumatic stress after a traumatic event to return to a healthy state.
Like you said, no 2 individuals are exactly the same. And you can use all of those programming that you have to tailor a program that meets the specific needs of your clients. Since COVID-19, seems like there has been some emerging issues that has happened with our communities in general. So how have you guys adapted your services for the evolving needs of the community?
The impact that COVID had on our community and on mental health, it's been astronomical when you really think about it, because you have to think about what our communities face. We face isolation. We face a lack of funding, not being able to have your basic needs, such as food, such as clothes, that interaction, that face-to-face. Trauma actually increased during the time of COVID-19 because you have the numbers of domestic violence and substance abuse that actually increased during that time of COVID. And so we are actually being an impact in dealing with those by providing the necessary services to be able to help those families who have dealt with some of those issues that have increased during the COVID-19. Within some of our underserved communities, it's always what happens at home stays at home, right? That's kind of the approach that we have taken. Nothing should go outside of this home. We kind of handle our own issues and our own problems. And so that's something that we're finding as a residue from COVID-19, but also creating that safe place, that safe haven to say, hey, our mental health is really important. Because of that, we really want to be able to address those issues so that they can have a healthy approach and be able to help them with dealing with some of the COVID-19 pandemic with our at-risk youth and also some of the adults who have dealt with that as well.
We were all affected to one degree or another, economically, socially, spiritually, mentally. We all had those issues that were uncovered, systemic issues that we may not have paid attention to prior to COVID-19 were unveiled. And it's good to know that there's an organization or business that is out there that is moving with the emerging needs, because too many times traditional ways of dealing with things don't change when the needs change. And so people get less and less help under the same auspice. Like, you can still go to the therapist, but the therapist is not dealing with you for your emerging needs. So thank you guys for the work that you're doing and how you are very flexible. I love the menu of options that you guys have for our communities. It definitely opened doors for healing.
Dealing with historically excluded communities where the stigma that you have out there of going to get help, mental health. We talk about people getting a check, being certifiable, or all of these stigmas as it relates to mental health. Can you discuss some of the most common barriers or those obstacles that individuals from our Black communities or historically excluded communities, those obstacles and barriers that they encounter when attempting to access mental health care? And then also, how does your organization work to overcome those barriers?
One of the things that I utilized in Bridge Builders was the poverty in Albemarle, North Carolina. I just want to read this briefly. It says the poverty rate in Albemarle is 25.9%. Wow. So that literally means out of every 3.9 resident within the city of Albemarle lives in poverty. Wow. And I want to share this one small thing. It says the poverty rate across North Carolina is 16.1, meaning Albemarle has a dramatically higher average percentage of residents living below the poverty. So when we talk about historically excluded communities, when we're facing those numbers or that ratio, you and I both know that it's real easy to be overlooked. It's real easy to not go and get the services. And poverty is connected to crime. We pride ourselves on just trying to meet the need of the whole man, giving them another resource, another real genuine outlet. And I think that that's something that I really, really want to plug in on. It's a genuine outlet, a genuine, authentic, hey, we really care about you as versus, and I'm not saying other agencies don't, I'm not saying other people out there don't, but I mean, literally, that is truly our intention.
Whenever you're in poverty, you are more focused on the next meal. You're focused on, where am I going to live? Nobody's sitting around saying, I need to go get me some help for my mental state. It's because you can go get help for your mental state today, but tomorrow you still don't have food on your table. So it's so many obstacles and barriers there when it relates to accessing mental health in our historically excluded communities. How does the Life Change Group work to overcome those barriers in order to stress to our communities, look, you need to get help?
Putting ourselves in that place, ourselves, of vulnerability, again, saying we exist to help. Again, and then collaborating with other community engagements or other like-minded community initiatives by saying, hey, this is the resource that is there, and then realizing the historically excluded communities when it looks at understanding poverty, understanding that we're in a state of emergency, understanding that is relatable, culturally relatable, not necessarily coming to a point where we try to act like we're above. And, no, we're right there with you, understanding as a historically excluded community, we know the strides and the hardships and the traumas. So we try to, again, maintain our relativeness, or what we call in the field a lived experience. Because Karissa and I are a lived experience of the statistics. We're a lived experience of the hardships. So I always feel that it's, been there, done that, can always tell how to get there. I believe being relative, being informed, and being definitely connected.
Some of the barriers that are faced too include financial constraints or lack of insurance coverage or transportation issues or that relatable scenario. Some of them are even language barriers, not being able to communicate effectively because those language barriers may be there. So one of the things that the Life Change Group, what we're trying to do is be very intentional about hiring our staff to be able to be bilingual, to be able to speak different languages so that it's not a communication barrier. And also bringing self-awareness too. The lack of financial restraint, educating our people on Medicaid expansion and what they can take advantage of. I feel like a lot of times in underserved communities, they don't take advantage of what's offered to them because they don't know. They don't have an awareness of it. So being very intentional on letting them know and making them aware of what they qualify for, what they can take advantage of as far as the financial piece of it. And also transportation. With the new Medicaid expansion, transportation is included in that. Depending on what plan that you have, they will make sure that you get to your appointments and get home from your appointments as long as you schedule them within a timely manner.
One of the particular plans that does that as far as the Medicaid goes is WellCare. There's other, given a definition, because there might be someone in our radio audience that is listening. If you have WellCare, there are several different advantages. You should do your due diligence at looking up what those particular Medicaid providers do offer, because there's a plethora of opportunities that is out there. My people perish for the lack of knowledge.
Exactly.
And sometimes the knowledge that we need is right up underneath our nose. It just takes that time for someone to come along and say, okay, hey, this is here, this is there. Yeah, that's one of them.
And changing the stigma that goes along with mental health. It has such a negative word. I have mental health issues, so you need to go seek help. Just changing that approach on the educational part of that. Everybody has mental health, whether it's healthy or unhealthy. Just to understand that you're not crazy because you need to go to speak to someone to help you to make it through some of those issues, to identify some of those issues, and also how to cope with some of those issues. So I think changing the narrative on mental health and what it is supposed to be used for is a big one in our underserved communities.
Right. I do agree. I agree with that. One of the things that I'm hearing you all say is there are barriers, but those barriers, we're able to live beyond those barriers. We're able to say, okay, yeah, these are issues as far as insurance, as far as transportation, but there's also resources out there to help navigate our way through that health care. And so that's what I'm hearing from the Life Change Group. You all are helping with that. And so I do appreciate that as well. We're going to go into a brief break, and then we're going to come back to you. We'll be right back after this message.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.
March into Wellness, navigating healthcare in historically excluded communities.
Meet Dr. Brian Johnson, a man with over 30 years of experience in changing lives. He's the force behind the Life Change Group NC Consulting, a beacon of hope in Albemarle, North Carolina. At Life Change, Dr. Brian, co-owner and wife Karissa Johnson and their team offer comprehensive counseling for individuals, couples, families, and even teens. Whether you're facing substance abuse, seeking personal development, or navigating life's challenges, Dr. Brian is here to guide you. As a board-certified Christian counselor and life coach, Dr. Brian works with you to create strategic plans, shares valuable resources, and helps you overcome obstacles. The Life Change Group is not just about counseling, it's about a journey to change. Dr. Brian actively participates in community initiatives, from mentoring at-risk youth to addressing racial justice. He's making a difference, one life at a time. If you're ready for positive transformation, contact the Life Change Group NC Consulting, 980-354-4222. Serving Stanley, Montgomery, Moore, and Davidson counties. The Life Change Group NC Consulting, where change begins and community thrives.
I'm just a kid, but I know something big. I know the power of community. In our historically excluded neighborhoods, we can rise together. We need your help, your support. Let's build something stronger and break the cycle. A better future is within reach, but we need you. Join hands, be the change. Together, we are a force. This is our community, our story. Will you be a part of it? Visit sandhillscooperation.org and become a part of the change.
Are you feeling trapped by your past, struggling with self-esteem challenges, or facing unhealthy relationships? Meet Dr. Tawanda Matthews, clinical counselor at Why Not Me Services, LLC, and licensed clinical addiction specialist associate. She's here to help you break free.
Introducing Talk Tech Therapy, where therapy meets technology. Online counseling with Dr. Matthews is easy and hassle-free. Say goodbye to traffic and waiting rooms. Connect with Dr. Matthews from the comfort of your own home through Doxy.me, a HIPAA-compliant platform.
Your privacy is our priority. Each session is confidential and conducted by a licensed counselor under clinical supervision. Sessions range from 30 minutes to 2 hours, tailored to your needs. Whether it's individual or couples counseling, Dr. Matthews at Tech Talk Therapy have you covered.
Serving multiple states, including North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and Virginia. Visit techtalktherapy.com to find the perfect clinician for you. Break free from the past and embrace a healthier future with Talk Tech Therapy. Dr. Tawanda Matthews is here for you. Visit techtalktherapy.com today.
Talk Tech Therapy, your path to healing, one click away.
Are you tired of the quick fixes that only address symptoms and not the root cause of your health issues? Welcome to Bowden's Natural Health Solution, where our mission is to guide you on a journey to true well-being through natural health care.
At Bowden's, we focus on the whole person body, mind, and spirit. Our team of certified natural health professionals is dedicated to providing complimentary health care that exceeds your expectations. We're not just about treating symptoms. We're about uncovering the root cause.
The National Association of Certified Natural Health Professionals recognizes our commitment to holistic health care in the least invasive way possible. We're here to educate you on the importance of preventive care, helping you improve or maintain your good health naturally.
Remember, we're not medical doctors, and we don't claim to be. But as natural health professionals, we'll research, educate, and provide recommendations tailored just for you.
Ready to embrace a lifestyle of natural health? Visit our website at bowdensnhs.com or call 910-220-8030. Bowden's Natural Health Solution, where your well-being is our top priority.
Welcome back to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, and those streaming live through free TuneIn radio app, Streama, Apple Music, Radio Seed, and more. You're listening to Beyond the Barriers radio show, and I'm your host, Mayor Sherri.
And I'm Coach Cindy.
If you're just tuning in, we're discussing mental health in the historically excluded communities with Dr. Brian L. Johnson and his wife, Karissa Johnson of the Life Change Group NC Consulting out of Albemarle, North Carolina. So now, Dr. Johnson and Lady Johnson, could you share with us some success stories or examples of some positive outcomes that have resulted from your programming? I know you said the bridge builders, there was a few others that you mentioned as well. So just let us know, how has that helped the communities that you serve?
One of our greatest intentional success stories is just actually being an agency that is listed or noted for collaboration. That is one of our greatest success stories. In other words, we're not an island. We know the importance of being connected to not only your community, but the resources within your community. So we've gone out of our way. A few examples, just even present date, we've done some things with the Stanley County School District. We have been very successful in collaborating from the elementary school all the way to the middle, to the high school, and to the early college. So we've done some collaborations, again, as you earlier stated, with bridge builders. We've done such things as the Grad Academy, where long-term suspended students had a particular place or spot to come and continue their education. And to date, again, another accomplishment, we've just collaborated with some other community resources that are out here, trying to affect change. As of recent, we just finished talking with the Superior Court clerk about to offer some other supportive services because there is a great demand that is connected to the historically excluded communities. And I've come to find out just in recent days that even though it's right up underneath their nose, if our historically excluded community doesn't see people that look like them, which is another barrier, by the way, if they don't see people that look like them, we're more prone not to really take advantage of those resources, even though they're right up underneath our nose. But we see it as a deterrent or as a barrier that, hey, nobody's there that looks like me, so nobody's there that looks like me, they're not going to have my best interest at heart. So one of the things that the Life Change Group NC has done is trying to put our faith connected or lived experience, meaning that we are a part of the historically excluded community. We're Black.
Right.
Right. We're Black, and we intentionally relate to those barriers and those things that would cause them not to come. So our success story is to specifically intentionally put a face that matches what they have gone through.
And you guys have definitely got some really good partnerships. Our children are in these schools that you have connected with, the other public organizations. But looking ahead, because it's obvious that you guys are trending, right?
Yes.
And you're so you're definitely not.
I like that word.
You're not.
Like that word. We're
trending. So you're not going to stand still. We're going to keep looking ahead. So what are some of your long-term goals and aspirations as the Life Change Group in North Carolina, in terms of continuing to support and to uplift our historically excluded communities in Albemarle and beyond?
One of the things that we want to do, and we're moving towards that long term, is to literally reduplicate ourselves. That's what Jesus did. Again, and I always must bring that into the key factor, because we are intentionally faith-based but evidence-based. So our assignment long-term is to reduplicate ourselves in Montgomery, wherever their services are needed, Stanley, Moore, wherever a Life Change Group NC can be of assistance to the historically excluded communities, that's where we want to be. And guess what? We don't have to be the people doing it. We love to train. We love to equip, empower people in the areas or the regions that we just named. We would love to see them really empower and bring some life-changing scenarios to those particular counties. So our long-term is reduplication. Our long-term is to be an elite resource hub for our historically excluded communities. Of dependability, too. I want to stress that, because we can have these resources or we can have these accesses, but we want them to be stable. We want the community to know that we're going to be here for a long time. We're not just here to get numbers, but we're here to walk with you on the journey through the whole journey. So we want to establish that consistency. We've seen several different things in the years of the Life Change Group being in existence, and we've seen what we don't want to do, and we've seen what we are going to maintain doing.
That's good. That's good. I know that our communities will be better for it.
And definitely looking at the services that you all provide, as well as the collaborations and the partnerships you have. What if there is someone who wants to partner with you or collaborate with the organization? How are they able to reach out to you all?
You can always reach out to us on Facebook, which is the Life Change Group NC. We also have the Life Change Group on Instagram, NC platforms, or the good old-fashioned way, 980-354-4222. The old-fashioned way, and you could either press extension number 1 or extension number 2. You'll get either myself or my wife, and we can help from there. I mean, but relationship is the greatest collaboration. So we're old-fashioned, so relationship is real key.
Yes, and if you have a referral, you can send that referral by email to Lady K Johnson 2016 at gmail.com. And that it is a HIPAA compliant email address. So if you have any referrals, you can send those referrals to that email. Again, that's Lady LADYK Johnson JOHNSON 2016 @gmail.com.
Great, great. Whenever you say services, like say for instance, if there's a child or a parent has a child who is dealing with some issues, are you all able to evaluate or assess the need?
Yes.
And then provide?
Yes,
okay,
we are.
gotcha.
Yep, we are able to do the assessments. So we do have a clinician on board with us right now that can do telehealth or do the assessment in person. So
Okay.
yes, ma'am, we do have that, shall I say, on standby.
Okay, and what are the areas that you serve?
Service Stanley County, Montgomery County, Davidson County, Randolph County, Winston-Salem, which is Forsyth County. And I just wanted to put a plug in there for Forsyth County. We have now hired an African-American male therapist.
Okay.
Yes, for the Forsyth area. He will be the Forsyth area, but he would also service all of the other counties as well through our telehealth services. So,
all right, congratulations.
And we are excited about that. And even in the interview while we were talking with him, one of the things that he said, and again, it goes back to the historically excluded communities. We don't see a lot of us in this particular field. So it will actually 100% make it a little bit more approachable to see that male figure, because it's, again, predominantly other nationalities or ethnicities that dominate the clinician field. So, and then on top of that, kudos to him. He is a Black male clinician that understands the lived experience of the historically excluded communities.
Right.
So that's good. That's just
Awesome.
going to be an amazing plus.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Skin folk and kinfolk.
Well, thank you both for joining us today. It is a privilege and an
Our
honor.
pleasure. It is our pleasure. And thank you all so much again for having myself and my lovely wife. Appreciate you all.
Oh, we appreciate you as
too.
well.
Yes.
You're tuned in to WDRB Media, the voice of the community. Don't go anywhere because we'll be right back.
Meet Dr. Brian Johnson, a man with over 30 years of experience in changing lives. He's the force behind the Life Change Group NC Consulting, a beacon of hope in Albemarle, North Carolina. At Life Change, Dr. Brian, co-owner and wife Karissa Johnson and their team offer comprehensive counseling for individuals, couples, families, and even teens. Whether you're facing substance abuse, seeking personal development, or navigating life's challenges, Dr. Brian is here to guide you. As a board-certified Christian counselor and life coach, Dr. Brian works with you to create strategic plans, shares valuable resources, and helps you overcome obstacles. The Life Change Group is not just about counseling, it's about a journey to change. Dr. Brian actively participates in community initiatives, from mentoring at-risk youth to addressing racial justice. He's making a difference, one life at a time. If you're ready for positive transformation, contact the Life Change Group NC Consulting, 980-354-4222. Serving Stanley, Montgomery, Moore, and Davidson counties. The Life Change Group NC Consulting, where change begins and community thrives.
Are you feeling trapped by your past, struggling with self-esteem challenges, or facing unhealthy relationships? Meet Dr. Tawanda Matthews, clinical counselor at Why Not Me Services, LLC, and licensed clinical addiction specialist associate. She's here to help you break free.
Introducing Talk Tech Therapy, where therapy meets technology. Online counseling with Dr. Matthews is easy and hassle-free. Say goodbye to traffic and waiting rooms. Connect with Dr. Matthews from the comfort of your own home through Doxy.me, a HIPAA-compliant platform.
Your privacy is our priority. Each session is confidential and conducted by a licensed counselor under clinical supervision. Sessions range from 30 minutes to 2 hours, tailored to your needs. Whether it's individual or couples counseling, Dr. Matthews at Tech Talk Therapy have you covered.
Serving multiple states, including North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and Virginia. Visit techtalktherapy.com to find the perfect clinician for you. Break free from the past and embrace a healthier future with Talk Tech Therapy. Dr. Tawanda Matthews is here for you. Visit techtalktherapy.com today.
Talk Tech Therapy, your path to healing, one click away.
Are you tired of the quick fixes that only address symptoms and not the root cause of your health issues? Welcome to Bowden's Natural Health Solution. where our mission is to guide you on a journey to true well-being through natural health care.
At Bowden's, we focus on the whole person body, mind, and spirit. Our team of certified natural health professionals is dedicated to providing complimentary health care that exceeds your expectations. We're not just about treating symptoms. We're about uncovering the root cause.
The National Association of Certified Natural Health Professionals recognizes our commitment to holistic health care in the least invasive way possible. We're here to educate you on the importance of preventive care, helping you improve or maintain your good health naturally.
Remember, we're not medical doctors, and we don't claim to be. But as natural health professionals, we'll research, educate, and provide recommendations tailored just for you.
Ready to embrace a lifestyle of natural health? Visit our website at bowdensnhs.com or call 910-220-8030. Bowden's Natural Health Solution, where your well-being is our top priority.
Beyond the Barriers Nugget of Wisdom from Coach Cindy.
Hi, this is Coach Cindy with your nugget of wisdom for the week. And today we're going to talk about another word, contrast. I'm going to talk about it because we have in our society mixed words. We have really called good bad and bad good. We have done this to the point that it is really hard to discern what our language really means. But today I'm going to talk about two words that are kind of used synonymously in lots of ways, in lots of settings, but they're really not. The words are justice and revenge. Now, when we think about justice, we think somebody got what they deserve. They either got what they deserve for doing wrong, or they got what they deserved for being wronged. Revenge, on the other hand, is a retaliation of something being done wrong, something being done by the person who has been done wrong. Revenge is always one-sided. I'm trying to retaliate or get you back for something that you've done to me. But justice is an equalizer. Justice exacts or exercises what is best for all parties involved, whether I've done the wrong or I have been the one done wrong. And when justice is coupled in wisdom and covered in love, it will work for everybody involved. Justice says, yes, a debt has to be paid. But justice also says that we are giving opportunity for the one who's done wrong to be justified, the one who's done wrong to be corrected, to come back into good standing. Wisdom tells us justice must be served fairly and coupled with love and kindness and in humility. And when you exercise justice, true justice, we all win. So yes, let's seek justice, but let's understand what it really means.
Beyond the Barriers Nugget of Wisdom from Coach Cindy.
Beyond the Barriers Radio Show.
Ready to ignite change? Sand Hills Cooperation Association empowers historically excluded communities, helping them become self-sufficient. Join us every Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. for our Beyond the Barriers radio show on WDRB Media with Mayor Sherri
and Coach Cindy addressing community challenges. Visit us at sandhillscooperation.org or visit us on Facebook, Sand Hills Cooperation Association, building brighter futures one community at a time.
This is Mayor Sherri
and Coach Cindy, host of Beyond the Barriers.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome, Mayor Sherri.
Yes, good to see you as well, Coach Cindy.
Oh yeah, you know we have so much that we have to talk about.
Beyond the Barriers Radio Show.
I really think that if we read together, we learn together. If we learn together, we grow together.
Wow.
And if we grow together, we can build together.
Don't miss out Sundays at 5 p.m. on WDRBmedia.com.
Looking for a dynamic workspace to fuel your creativity and boost productivity? Welcome to the Innovative Action Center, your hub for co-working and meeting space at 346 North Main Street, Troy, North Carolina. Become a member and enjoy 24/7 access, high-speed Wi-Fi, cozy coffee bar, and snacks to keep you energized. Elevate your business game with our membership packages. For more information, contact us at 910-573-3070 or visit sandhillscooperation.org. The Innovative Action Center is more than a workspace. It's a community dedicated to business development and job creation. Join us for monthly workshops, seminars, and entrepreneurial services. Take your business to new heights at the Innovative Action Center. Visit us today.
This is Mayor Sherri
and Coach Cindy, host of Beyond the Barriers, telling you to stay tuned in to the only station giving you double the information and inspiration.
WDRB Media, the voice of the community.
Attention innovators, community builders, and champions of positive change. Beyond the Barriers radio show is inviting you to be part of our empowering journey. We're on the lookout for sponsors who believe in breaking barriers and amplifying voices in historically excluded communities. Want to showcase your brand or cause to our engaged audience? Visit Sandhills Corporation or to explore exciting sponsorship opportunities, from on-air endorsements to impactful commercials. Become a part of a platform that celebrates resilience, triumph, and community strength. Our show is not just about telling stories. It's about shaping narratives and making a lasting impact. By sponsoring Beyond the Barriers, you align your brand with a mission of inclusivity, empowerment, and positive change. Visit sandhillscooperation.org today to purchase advertisements, endorsements, or even secure a spot as a guest on our show. Let's break barriers together and create a vibrant, connected community. Beyond the Barriers radio show, where every sponsorship is an investment in positive transformation. Be a catalyst for change. Visit sandhillscooperation.org now. Beyond the Barriers radio show. Breaking barriers, building connections.
Get ready for inspiration and empowerment every Sunday at 5 p.m. on WDRBmedia.com with the Beyond the Barriers radio show. Join Mayor Sherri and Coach Cindy as they tackle the issues facing historically excluded communities. It's a powerful conversation on cooperative models, breaking barriers in economic, social justice, health, and education. Tune in, engage, and be part of the change. Visit us on Facebook at Beyond the Barriers radio show. Don't miss out, Sundays at 5 p.m. on WDRBmedia.com.
We have been discussing marching into wellness, navigating health in our historically marginalized communities, and we are focusing on mental health. Join us next week as we discuss the doctor's perspective about health in our historically excluded communities.
We want to thank today's guests, Dr. Brian L. Johnson and Karissa Johnson of the Life Change Group NC Consulting. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Continue to tune in every Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. Please listen live 24/7 by going to WDRBmedia.com and click on the Listen Live tab. Also, if you want to be a guest on the show or want free advertising, call us at 910-573-3070 or email us at sandhillscooperation@gmail.com. Connect with us on social media at Sandhills Cooperation Association, also at Beyond the Barriers Radio Show. You've been listening to Beyond the Barriers Radio Show, and we are your hosts, Mayor Sherri
and Coach Cindy on WDRB Media, the voice of the community, for double the information and inspiration. Sowing seeds of change, breaking barriers, and transforming lives. That's what we do at Beyond the Barriers. Until next week, continue to be blessed.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.